So we're going to talk about what is Canvas today. We're going to talk about how does Canvas work, why is it used in classes, online and face-to-face, and how will we use it in our class. So if you have some experience with Canvas, that's fantastic. You might have taken a class and Canvas was used and you feel comfortable using it. Well, that's great. You might still want to hang out, listen to the information, because you'll get to see the way I have my classes set up, which might be different from the way your last instructor used Canvas. Secondly, though, if you have no experience, fear not, we'll get through this. Canvas is a pretty easy tool to use once you get the hang of it, and it doesn't take very long to get the hang of it. So, starting off, we need to open up the internet, and we need to open up a tab on our web browser and go to the Bakersfield College website. Now, before you do that, please keep in mind that not all web browsers are created equal. I'm using Google Chrome because that is the browser that Canvas is approved for and that works best in. I don't know if you use Firefox or Safari or Microsoft Edge. I can't vouch that everything's going to work seamlessly on those browsers, but I know Google Chrome, everything works just fine. And if you're still using Internet Explorer, I just have one question for you. Why? I mean, seriously, we can argue over the benefits of Chrome versus Firefox and which one is bigger and more robust and which has more features. And if you're not sure why, again, I mean, here's a perfect example. I'm not going to leave this up for more than a second or two, so you're going to have to pause it to take a look and read everything. But this pretty much sums it up. So to get to the Canvas page for the class, you need to go to the Bakersfield College website. And then once you're in there, what you want to do is you want to click on the Inside BC button. And at some point, you'll probably be asked to sign in. And here we are. So we're in the Inside BC KCCD EDU website. And if we take a look up at the bar here, you have your name. You have something called My BandWeb. And what you're looking for is the one that says Courses. Now, I'm faculty, so this lists the classes I'm teaching, faculty courses. You are a student. This will list the courses that you are currently enrolled in. So it should say Student Courses with a drop-down arrow. And then what you want to do is you want to go and find the class that you're enrolled in. Now, all of my classes are set up the exact same with Canvas. So I'm going to show you a variety of them. Just because I didn't click on your class, don't think that this doesn't apply to you. This is just a generic lecture on how to use Canvas. So right away, some things that we're going to see when we open up Canvas is we land on a home page, and the home page, I control which page is the home page. There is a difference between the way it looks for the instructor and the way it looks for the student. So if I were to turn this into a student view, I should get a preview of how this will all look to you. Okay, so notice that my number of buttons along the side here just got a lot shorter. And some of my options here disappeared. But that's fine because this is the information that the student needs when they log in. So there's a few areas that we want to take a look at here on the interface. The name of the course and the CRN should be up at the top. On the left-hand side here, we've got something called a global navigation bar, and this allows you to navigate and control global settings on your Canvas account for every class you take. And I'm going to talk about all that stuff in a different video. Over here, we have the class navigation bar, and these are the things that we'll use within this class. The area in the middle here is our splash page, our home page that we land on when we start. And then along the side here, we have a few different things we can click on. There's a calendar for this course that shows you due dates and what's coming up and when programmed assignments and exams have been scheduled. And then there's a what to do. Well, right now there's nothing to do because nothing's been assigned. But normally as assignments go in, they will start populating a list down here so you can see what's coming up. If I go into one of these other courses, you'll see that the way that I set my courses up is they're set up week by week. So in the first week, the title of the homepage is week 1. And on the second week, it's week 2, and week 3, and week 4, etc., etc. Okay, so here is the information related to what we're doing for that week. And sometimes you see text that is black or gray. Well, that is just regular text. And then sometimes we see text that is blue, like this text. And when you see blue text, what you're looking at is a hyperlink. So what will happen is if you click on it, it will bring you to another tab with some information. For example, that hyperlink takes you out to YouTube, and there's some video instruction that goes along with that. Other hyperlinks might bring you to a page within Canvas. For example, here is a link that goes to a page, and if you see this, this just means that the page hasn't been turned on yet. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It just means I haven't turned that resource on. That's what unauthorized means. If I click on one of these other hyperlinks, we see not all hyperlinks go to the internet. This hyperlink just goes to a page within Canvas with some information and instruction that I want you to have. But clicking on the blue text that's underlined will bring you somewhere. Here's a hyperlink on how to get some software for your computer. So we give it a click, it'll open up a new window, and within that page there'll be text, and there might be more hyperlinks. So let's talk about what these buttons are on the course navigation bar. The number of buttons, again, will vary depending on your class, but they're pretty much the same class by class. So here we see there's a home button, and that just brings you to the current home page. Whatever page has been designated as the page we're using for that week or that time will automatically pop up whenever you click on home. The second button is for something called assignments. So if we click on the assignments button, it'll bring us to a list of current and upcoming assignments as well as past assignments. So I have a category here for overdue assignments. I have a category here for assignments without a date. Here are some past assignments. So in our class, as assignments get added to the class, they'll be in a section called upcoming assignments. So you can keep track of what's coming up and what is already passed. The next button down is discussions. Clicking on the discussions button is a way to communicate with myself and with the other members of your class. So in some classes, for example, a literature class, the instructor might assign you to read a piece of literature and then discuss it in a group. Well, it's kind of hard to do that if you're having an online class. So the discussion tool is a great way to handle that kind of thing since we're not meeting face-to-face. So what will we do? Well, we've got discussions that are current. We've got some closed discussions. You should have a section for pinned discussions also. And then a discussion just means somebody started a conversation and they want you to weigh in. So here is a discussion called unanswered questions. And when I click on it, it opens up a new page. And hey, that one's for me. So I let the class know what I want to talk about and how they can respond or how they can create their own discussion. So if you wanted to reply to my discussion, you would click down here on reply. And it opens up your text editor and you can start entering. And when you're done, you hit post reply. And now we have your reply to the discussion that was started. If you wanted to start your own discussions, you could click on the plus discussion, big blue button here, and that opens up a place to start a brand new discussion. Now, of course, we're not going to read any works of literature and have to discuss them. Okay, I don't want you flipping out or worrying. But what we will do is when we're having trouble, the discussion board is actually not a bad place to come to ask people for a little bit of help or some feedback. And if you participate in the class this way through discussions, at the end of the class I will throw some extra credit your way. And especially if you answer other people's questions, I will throw even more extra credit your way for being my deputy and taking care of some of the heavy lifting. Because a lot of times questions, they're simple little things that people maybe just misheard or didn't hear or went over their head. And the more things that you guys can help each other with, the better. And like I said, I will richly reward you for your hard work. In class, I've been known to hand these out as motivational tools when people help one another out or do things above and beyond the call of duty. And since I can't hand these out to you working online, well, I'm going to just have to reward you with some points. But I'm sure no one's going to complain about that. Grades. Grades is another button on our course navigation. And when we open up the grade button, what we'll see is how we're doing in the class based on what you've turned in and what I've given you grades on. In a class that's got nothing entered for grades yet, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see the categories that we have for our assignments. You're going to see the due date, whether or not it's been submitted, the score you got, and how many possible points there were. And what we have on the side here is just a breakdown of how your grade is calculated. If I take a look at this student's grades, we see the name of the assignment, we see when it was due, we see whether it was turned in on time or whether it was late. We also see the score the student got, how many possible points they could have gotten. This area here has a little word bubble, which means comments have been added to the assignment. So if I click on that, well, the comments will appear. You can also go to the assignment to see the comments on the right-hand side here in column. Okay, so as we start getting assignments turned in and graded, I would invite you to go into the gradebook and look at those things and see how they work. There is also a button for the syllabus. Clicking on the button for the syllabus will bring up the electronic copy of your syllabus that matches the paper syllabus that you received. Okay, so if we lose the paper, there's no big deal. We have the electronic copy, and then down at the bottom of the syllabus, you'll see a course summary. So what that is, it's just a listing of all the assignments that we've given in the course. As they appear in the gradebook, they also appear down here in order. So you get a listing of what you've done and what is coming up. Now, there's also going to be a button for something called ConferZoom. And ConferZoom is the tool that we're going to use to communicate during class time. So some of you might have used Zoom to communicate with either instructors or friends or family. I think a year ago, not too many of us knew what it was, but now I think a lot of us are experts. And I have gotten pretty good at working with Zoom. So if this is the first time you're seeing this, don't wig out. This isn't so bad. What we're going to do is we're going to just look ahead down the road, and we're going to see if there are any events. And I see that I do have some upcoming events. So these are the class meetings I'll be having with this particular class. Right now it says it's an upcoming event. What you should see is a button that says Join. And when you click on the Join button, what's going to happen is it's going to open the Zoom interface, and then you're going to be joining the rest of us for a brief face-to-face session using ConferZoom. We'll have another video about how to use ConferZoom and the Zoom interface. The last little bit of the course navigation area I want you to take a look at is the course calendar. So when we click on that, it opens up a new page. And then for this one course, here's the CRN, the course name, and the title, and it's green. Well, we can see on the calendar what things are due. So if I just back up a little bit, we see as assignments are coming up, their due date is marked and the time they have to be turned in by. This is a great way to keep track of where we are and what's up ahead and how far ahead it is. All right. So course calendar, you can look at it by week. And you can look at it by month, and we get a nice overview of everything that's happening in the course. The other item I can point out is the to do. Means these are the upcoming assignments. So because an assignment is coming up, but I haven't submitted anything yet, I have a button here that pops up, and then clicking on it brings you to the assignment itself so that you can see what the assignment is, and you have the option to submit your assignment. One last thing I'd like to show you is that if you don't see buttons here, you don't have words to click on, then click on the hamburger here, those little 3 lines, because that will either hide or show the buttons for the course navigation menu. All right, so my plan is to give you some time to play around with your Canvas shell, see what's available, see what's not. Remember, if you click on something and it says you don't have permission to go there, it's locked, that's not a bad thing. It just means I haven't unlocked it yet. Okay, so be patient. It'll be unlocked soon. We haven't talked about the global navigation, and we haven't talked about working with Zoom and Zoom. So I'm going to put those in 2 separate videos, and they will follow up.